And you know how Steppin, Marcus J. live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio went to break just now with some of the best jokes and picking on folks from the Champ, the greatest of all time. We'll kind of filter in a couple of clips from the Champ as we go throughout the night. But we're going to move on to some other stuff. First of all, getting a shout out from our brother Hakeem up in Jersey. Hakeem is he says he's almost home to catch the live stream. He's just checking in right now to let the crew know that he's thinking about us and to shout out his special friend Marcus J, who went to school with him when we was kids. You mean you? Yeah, me, not you. Yeah, he actually did shout you out.
Hey, don't we need to say happy birthday to somebody?
I don't know whose birthday.
It's not when was DJ Michelle?
DJ Renee Melendez. That's right. It's today.
Lord, I done messed her name up.
That's right. Today is DJ Renee Melendez's birthday, so we do need to thank you very much for reminding me, DJ Renee Melendez. If I know you well, you someplace spinning and having a great time. So definitely blessed. Thank you for reminding me, and very much very happy, blessed or strong to our sister DJ Renee Melendez.
And while we saying that, happy birthday to my nephew too.
Your
nephew turned 8. Yes.
8 years old?
Yes.
8. That's a dope year, man. 8 is real good because that's when you.
I know that's right. No Comcast. $250 for Comcast cheese and rice.
But you couldn't drink beer at 8.
That's okay, but I could have lots of ice cream if I was good.
You don't have Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. I want to introduce a special guest who popped in at the end of the last segment. If you are listening to Legacy Internet Radio on Sunday evenings, you're listening to Twa After Dark with Bella and Q Boogie. They have a great show, great camaraderie between the two of them. But there's a brother on that show who brings a bit of the masculine edge and kind of basically helps to, get in the middle of those two fine ladies. Y'all hear him on that show, and he goes by W Balls. What's going on, brother?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good,
everyone?
man.
How y'all doing?
He slides between the two ladies. That's what he does.
Hey, man. And his name is W Balls.
You got two backup dancers?
I had to add a little Twi After Dark flair.
What's the significance behind W Balls?
It comes from Dr. Dre, the Chronic album.
Classic.
And ever since then, I fell in love with that. And I was like, you know what? My first day on the radio, I'm going to say this.
And it's stuck.
And I had my chance. And it's stuck. So
roll with it, baby.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to have this stuff. W Balls, W Balls, W Balls. Yeah, we know the Chronic. Come on, man.
That's right.
I'll mess around and play that joint one day.
Music. Okay.
Yeah, the music that those of us
grew up
those
on.
of us that are hip actually listen to.
I'm hip just because I listen to WNBC.
Just because you got two hips don't make you hip. And I have Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio. Let me give some shout outs here. We got the diva Arthur Charisma is checking us out. Our sister Melanie in the Shy is checking us out. What's up, Melanie? I love that girl. She always checking us out every single week. She's checking us out. So let's get into the new movie Roots. So before I ask the question that I want to ask, I'm just going to ask one simple question, and I just want a yes or no from everybody on the questions. Big Sis, you up first. Did you watch the new Roots?
No.
Have you watched the old Roots?
The old one, like we grew up on?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Shayna, new one. Have you watched the new one?
Nope.
Have you watched the old one?
Yep.
Okay, Bless, same question.
I watched the new one. I don't remember much of the old one, but I read the book a long time ago.
Okay. All right. W Balls?
I did.
Y'all gonna laugh every time I say it. Every time I say it, they gonna laugh. Every time.
Every time, right?
Every time, man.
But yeah, I saw the old one and the new one. I saw bits and pieces of it.
And Mr. 3375.
I watched the old one and I refused to watch the new one.
All right, so
I'm with you.
so good. So I basically polled the room and got what I was looking for. So that leaves Blessed to me as the only ones that watched the new one, and I didn't really want to talk about the new one, so that's good. What I really wanted to talk about in this segment, I'll get to the question about slave movies in a minute. I want to ask the question because we've also universally seen the original. And so, Bless, since you watched the new one, I can ask you this because I have my own opinion about it. The new one versus the old one, was the new one necessary? Did we need to have Roots remade.
Now, from what I remember of the old one, it would not be appealing to children or youth that are watching TV nowadays. It would not be as appealing. Well, it's not appealing to some people now, but it wouldn't have been as eye-catching. It wouldn't have been as interesting to watch the old one with Cicely Tyson and LeVar Burton and all of them people than it would be now. Everything was the whipping was very graphic compared to what I remember seeing in the old one. But that's what people are used to seeing nowadays. Video games are graphic. TV is graphic. Why not show what truly may have happened in slavery times the way it would have happened?
So there was a level of authenticity that the new version created that is updated basically for the times. And it's not
Correct.
to say that the original in the 70s wasn't authentic for that time.
It was for that time.
But it was changed. Now, here's what I'll say about the differences. And anybody that knows me knows how I feel about Roots. I mean, I'm the guy that went to Henning, Tennessee and met the family. Like, I'm that guy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I went to Chicken George's grave twice.
You're that man. Yes.
He's a fan of Roots.
It's not even more so of a fan. It's more about the pilgrimage.
Right.
Because the way I viewed Roots, it was that family represented something that all of our families have, but we weren't able to go through it the way Alex was and put it together in a
Correct.
nice way where we can look at where we started in this country in 1750. Just as you had mentioned when we were talking earlier, Shana, you and I were talking about updating movies and having movies made about kings and queens and things like that. Like, I totally want to see that happen. But one of the things that we do have as far as history, even though it's not great history, is our origin in this country. And so for me, it was very personal to be able to identify with a family, even though it wasn't my family, but identify with a family that was able to trace their lineage all the way back to their village in West Africa. Yeah. And so for me, it's just for me to personally make myself a part of that was an experience that I'll never forget. I went there with my family in the summer of 2012, and I liked it so much, and I shared the story with my brother K-Dub, and he and I went together later on that year. And so, I was able to experience that twice, and that's why I just wanted to talk about this. Now, to kind of address the things that Bless just said about the movies and the differences, 100% agree. My 13-year-old watched the original Roots back in 2012 before we went out there. And, yeah, she was in it, but the eyes kind of did glaze over because it's visually different.
It's really boring.
It's more, I think that's probably a fair assessment.
When Roots first came out, that would probably, for that time, you know what I'm saying, would probably be really appealing, but I can't show my 8-year-old daughter Roots from back then and expect her to really get a message or anything.
Right.
Just kind of like, Mom, what is this? This is pretty old.
Right. I can dig it. And you know what I compared it to, Big Sis? I compared it to people in our general age group, how we look at black and white movies.
Correct.
You know what I mean? There's a few that we can watch, like me. There's a few that I can watch. I like some old movies. But for the most part, yeah, my eyes kind of glaze over when I'm looking at black and white movies. Oh, wow. And so I kind of feel like that's how it was for the children, or the younger people, I should say, not necessarily children, because there's some 30-somethings that can't relate to the cinematography. We'll just kind of leave it at that.
It's pretty old.
It's pretty dated. Now, to look at the new one, because I am versed in both the movies, I do think that they took some liberties with the story. They changed up a whole lot of stuff, and they added some stuff that they didn't do in the original. So that's kind of the only critique
that you would think would be.
I'll give you
was it in the book?
Yeah, please give an example.
I'll give a perfect.
Was it in the book?
Yeah. There were some things that were in this new movie that were not in the book, and they took some creative liberties and just basically
making it entertaining.
And they made it exactly. There you go. But the biggest glaring change from the new one versus the old one that I liked was in the original, Kizzy was raped. And the next time you see Kizzy, Chicken George is 18 years old.
Yeah. I remember that part.
In the new one, Kizzy is raped, and the next time you see Chicken George, he's 8 years old. Mm. And so you learn who George is and how he becomes Chicken George.
Right.
And that's very important because if you look at the family, Chicken George is probably the most important. He's the most pivotal person in the entire family because he's the bridge from the old time. I don't know anything about this history.
From the beginning.
To we actually have somebody who touched him. You know what I mean? Like Alex's great grandmother touched him, and Alex actually talked to his great grandmother, so he can actually talk to somebody to talk to him. Whereas Kizzy and Kunta was so far back that you can't even really relate to that. And so I think that was very important because you learned who he was. So let's ask the question about slave movies. And W, I want you to jump in. WB, I want you to jump in here first because there are a lot of people who are having issues with slave movies. And I'm saying that with air quotes. You know, I'm tired of all these slave movies. Slave movie. What's your thoughts on that thought process? Do you have issues with 12 Years a Slave, Underground, the updated roots, things of that sort, being in the cinematography universe now, or are you not tripping about it?
I'm not really tripping about it because there are more than just one story to slavery. Just like how we talk about Sojourner Truth, we talk about Malcolm X, we talk about Marcus Garvey, we talk about slave ships, period. You know, there are different categories that you can put slavery in, you know, and there are different aspects of slavery. You know, one of the things that we don't hear about are the white slaves that came over.
Indentured servants.
Irish.
Yeah, the Irish, right. So that's slavery. You don't never hear about that. Matter of fact, I even looked in my daughter's history book, could not find it.
Indentured servants,
Yeah,
they call
indentured
them.
servants, right, yes. So as far as different movies, as far as slavery movies concerned, I'm actually for it, actually. But I'm also for showing how we had civilization before slavery.
Thank you.
That's what I'm looking for.
I am all for that. That was
That's
my
what
point.
I'm looking for. Yeah, because it's amazing how you, what communities can say, you know, get over slavery. You know, that happened a long time ago. But yet and still, you keep on making these movies about it, and it's like, okay, cool. What you want me to do? I'm confused now. But then when we ask about what happened previously before slavery,
They were kings
what
and
happened
queens.
before, you know, the Europeans or the
Caucasians.
Caucasians and the
Christians. Who do we want to name that messed up Africa?
All them folks.
Ain't thinking of that. Yeah, a lot of people
The
that
Moors?
came over that came over to Africa to take away from our culture and then bring it over here and use us as their labor slaves.
Right.
They
Shannon,
also
jump in.
had slavery in the Middle East where they came over to Africa
Right.
and took black people the same way. You know, it's not talked about a lot here, but they did the same over there also. So I'm also feeling like you feel like I want to see more movies about who were we before slavery time. Like, and I understand that's a very big part of our history, being that we do live in America now, but our names were stripped from us. We have no, you know what I'm saying, we have no titles or anything. Like, we have no idea who we were before this incident happened.
Right.
And this incident was probably small compared to people living way before slavery happened. People were living in time, like it was a lot that happened before slavery. So I just think that we should see some more of that. Like, I'm not against slave movies and roots and all of that great stuff. I just feel like it was beat in my head as a child, and I could never forget it. But my question and what happened before?
Right.
What I want to introduce here is the comments from Snoop Dogg, because what we're talking about here, is basically, in my opinion, kind of what sparked this piece of the debate. He pretty much goes on an expletive-filled rant about his thoughts on the new Roots movie. And so I'm going to clean it up as best as I can, but basically give the gist of his comments. He basically says, I'm sick of this. How the expletive, they're going to put Roots on Memorial Day. They just going to keep beating the expletive in our heads, how they did us, huh? And he continues, let's see, I don't understand America. They just want to keep showing the abuse that we took hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But guess what? We're taking the same abuse. Think about that part. When are we going to make a blank series about the success that black folks is having? The only success we have is Roots and 12 Years a Slave. End quote. I got some pretty strong comments on his strong comments. Snoop Dogg is very... Let me back up. How do we know Snoop Dogg? First time we heard him.
Gin and Juice.
Gin and Juice.
Down the street.
B's Ain't S.
Deep cover.
Deep cover.
That was
He
the first
got
time I heard
arrested
it.
for...
I mean,
He smoke a lot.
he smokes a lot. I mean, basically, his favorite word is the N word. His second favorite word is the B word. We
he
know
has a
him.
business with porn stars, I believe.
We know him as
He does have
as
a
a
porn
as a
star.
pot smoker. Now he's done a whole lot of cool stuff, but
He has the children. He does the football
the football
with.
thing.
Okay.
Yep, he's
Yeah.
done all of that.
But-
But the point I'm making is, I'm not sure that he has built the kind of credibility necessary to make the kind of comments that he's making. One, and two, he has the financial resources to back and produce folks who are making said movies. And so instead of criticizing someone that's working, how about you provide an alternative? How about you do that?
I agree with you, Marcus.
Now, I remember you posted that on your page, and I had a long commentary.
Because I came
on
in,
that.
I came in here and I did a video blog about this.
Mm-hmm. And I commented on that video blog, and I feel the same way that you do, that he needs to put his money where his mouth is. Now, I wanted to intercede on the part where we say, okay, well, we want to make movies about kings and queens back in Africa. Number one, most Africans that see us in America don't think of us as Africans at all. They don't think that we should be African or we should have African American. So there's going to be a rift between how we see ourselves in America and how we saw ourselves in Africa.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, the movies that are made about African kings and queens are white people play the roles. True. Cleopatra is a purple-eyed, what's the lady's name? Elizabeth Taylor back in the days. So if movies are made with black people as kings and queens, who really goes to spend their money to see those movies? I don't think many people do it. And then for Snoop, my issue with Snoop is that he lives on the West Coast. Understandably, LA has had their share of problems on the West Coast with black people. They have their own struggle that they had to go through. For us here in Virginia that have had to see the trees as we're riding down 460 that people might have hung from, we see the cotton that's still growing on the side of 460.
That is true.
That is our history, unfortunately. It might have been hundreds and hundreds of years ago, as Snoop incorrectly says, which was 1863. But anyway, it's our history here. It's something that we can go and touch. It's something that we can look at. We can look up the archives and try to find our names. We can't find anything. Most of us can't find anything in Africa that we belong to. So I kind of feel where he's coming from. He should put his money into making these type of movies. But when you make black themed movies that ain't about gangsters killing each other, ain't about drugs, how many people went to see Chirac?
Yeah. I love that movie.
Most of the black people could not stand the rhyming. They didn't understand that this was a play from back when there were kings and queens. Right. They couldn't stand listening to a whole play that rhymed.
With me, a lot of my issue is the constant bickering, because there's a saying where we shouldn't compare ourselves to other communities. I understand that, and that's fair, because as the original man, the black man, we are basically the blueprint. So they should be comparing themselves to us. Having said that, you don't hear Jewish people complaining about Holocaust movies.
Absolutely don't.
You don't hear.
They will constantly make those movies.
They make them all the time, but you know what else they don't do? They don't complain about what they don't like. If there's a Jewish person who's tired of movies about the Holocaust, they don't bitch about it. They just don't watch it.
Yeah.
They just don't watch it. You know what I mean? And I just get so sick and tired of us always backbiting and complaining. Like, you got people that complain about Tyler Perry movies. Oh, all he do is make movies for the women, and you'll never see no positive black guys and all this. If you don't like Tyler Perry, don't watch his movies. But you ain't got to throw dirt on the brother for this.
I feel like there's an issue with us as far as pride is concerned nowadays. We want to forget about what we were stripped of. We want to forget that. Jewish people don't want to forget the atrocities that happened to them.
That's why they say never forget.
They're proud of what happened. They're proud that they made it through it. But we can't stop and say, I'm proud that my grandfather, great-grandfather made it through that and is able to talk about it to his kids if he did, because most of us don't even know our own stories.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right. No, I can dig it. And that's 100% true.
I'm sorry for being the militant light skin in the room.
No. Because it's usually me. it's usually me.
I think a lot of people don't understand that a lot of slaves had it better than others.
Who you talking? 12 years a slave? Did
You
you
know
see
what
that
I'm
lady
saying?
that was on porch?
And me personally, I don't think all black people was born in Africa. You know what I'm saying? I don't think all black people was born in Africa. I mean, it's other places over there that, but at the same time, in the West Coast, like you were saying, they don't have to deal with what we deal with here in the South. The capital.
This is generational.
Let somebody ride around.
We
LA
are in
with a rebel
Virginia,
flag on their truck.
the capital of the Confederacy. Richmond.
I'll make it even better. I'll make it even clearer for some folks. 9/11 affected me differently than it affect a lot of my friends here in Virginia, largely because I grew up in the area.
Right.
I can see the Twin Towers from my bedroom window.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Every day I saw those towers.
Right.
And so when they came down, I was affected because my mom was on her way there at that time, and she didn't perish, but she was going there.
Right.
And so I have conversations with people here about it, and they're sad at the loss of life, but it's not personal.
Right.
You're right.
It's not personal. Right. Like you were referring to him being out there on the West Coast. Where I thought you were going is the fact that he has access to L.A., which is
That
where
too.
Hollywood is. And if he really wanted to make some movies, he could make some movies.
He's
Right.
making his own TV show, comedy
what I'm
skits
saying.
and whatnot. Why can't he do it to do something historical? If he really wants to change something, why not change it? But I think these movies are important to be updated because our children are living in a time where we're supposed to forget about it. They're not being taught it. They're changing the textbooks to say that we came here of our own free will,
Just say
and
that.
we need to know that this happened, that it could happen again. Hell, it's close to happening right now.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
So they need to know this. They need to know that it's a part of history. History is bound to repeat itself if we allow it to. But if we don't show these movies, how would they know?
Yeah.
And I think as parents, because my mom teaches in VCU of Black American Studies, so I've seen a lot, I've read a lot, and I've did a lot, and people don't understand that. A lot of times I take the boulevard home, and I drive past this museum
Confederate
every
Yes,
day on
and
the
those-
right hand
yes.
side with Confederate flag.
And
Yeah.
it puts a little skip in your heart.
Yeah,
It
and,
makes
and
a
you know what I'm
little angry.
saying,
do.
and I just be like, really?
Yeah, Arthur Ashe at the end.
You know what
though.
I'm saying? Like, really?
All the
They-
way down the end.
My family stretched from South Carolina to Virginia. So somewhere back in history, my people landed there. I could take y'all to a part in South Carolina where black people are still living
You a
in them,
Geechee.
still living in them gray houses.
You a Gullah.
Is that-
My family's from South Carolina.
yeah, they
live on the
still
dirt
live in them
roads
gray
and stuff.
houses.
We
Yeah.
thought
Them
everybody
gray
Geechee.
slave houses, and it's a big field, and they got them gray houses, and
We
black
might be
people
good.
still live there. Like Snoop,
Yeah,
he
he
don't
can
understand.
go.
He don't
He
understand,
he
bro.
don't know
If you
about
He don't
the-
understand.
If you grew up where I grew up, anything south of Delaware was geeky. dog.
Yeah.
You said
They
you
don't
never saw
understand,
cotton
man.
until
They
you
don't
went down.
I the first time.
Well, you're a
True-
Yankee.
true-
You're from up north.
It's true. True story. I was close to 40 the first time I seen real cotton. Real. She ain't from Jersey though. She from Pennsylvania.
And they fly rubber flags in Pennsylvania. I done seen more
but
than a few.
it's a head cracker. And I'll tell you another thing that's crazy, right? When my mom came to visit a couple years ago, she saw Confederate flags. She still lives in New Jersey. So she saw Confederate flags, and it absolutely blew her mind. She said to me, and I paraphrase because I can't quote it, and I paraphrase, they let these people fly them flags? This is what she said.
We
Did
in
it
the
begin
South.
with a C? Did she say?
Huh?
Did she say C?
No, people. No, she didn't say no. She don't talk that way. I'm more likely to talk that way than she is. But did she let these people? Do they let these people fly those flags? Like
It
this
was
is
the
the
state flag of Georgia.
This is the mentality of us up north, because I remember the first time I saw a Confederate flag, and I kind of had the same thought. Like,
And it's crazy because when my daughter, first
They
went
be
to high
having
school,
rallies out here.
when she first went to high school, and because when I went to high school, light-skinned girls was hated. And that was my
That's still the
biggest
case.
fear
and that's why I'm like
when my
this.
daughter first went into.
Black
when I
power.
went.
That was my biggest fear when my daughter going to high school, that they were just going to dislike her because she was light-skinned.
Nah, it's because
It
they
was
think we
total
You know what I'm
bougie.
opposite
saying?
when I went.
It's crazy that
ain't
she
part
struggled
of it.
just like a dark-skinned person. Just because she's light-skinned, we all black to them.
Unfortunately, we have a discrimination in our own
Started from
race
slavery.
Colorism.
about light. Yeah.
Started
Colorism.
from slavery.
well, tell us about that, Shana. Tell us about the slavery. How did it start in slavery?
Well, they put the light-skinned people in the house. They made them feel.
Well, most of them were somebody's child, the slave master's child.
Some of them were the slave master's child, and my grandmother. She's from Charles City, and she just, she
That's
said
light-skinned
back
women.
in the day, her
That's
great
like the
grandmother.
stereotype. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's the stereotype that Charles City got
The
all the light-skinned
light-skinned
people.
lady.
Well, no, well,
Yeah,
I
always
mean, they're Native American. My family's Native American, but she was telling me about her great grandmother and how she was. Oh, hello, caller. How are you?
How you doing? What's
I'm
up?
good.
It's Cash,
I'm
right?
good.
What's up, Cash?
How you doing, Marcus? How was your birthday?
Everything was great. Thanks for asking. What you want to get in on? Sure.
Okay, so I just heard y'all. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm kind of out of breath or whatever, but
You ran to the phone,
I heard
huh?
y'all talking about. No, it's what I'm about to say.
Okay.
I heard you talking about 9/11, and I remember that day like it was yesterday, and that's, I think, one of the first times I hit that teacher with the chair for telling me that I couldn't leave. My mother was going in that building that morning.
Are you all right?
I'm just glad she's here.
Yeah.
They couldn't find her.
And just imagine how she was that day if here we are almost 15 years later and those emotions are still raw.
He told me I couldn't leave. And I know where she had to go. And Mommy, you remember asking me what dress you should wear that day? And you wanted to wear that green suit, and I said no. Can she hear me?
Yeah,
can hear
she
you.
got you. She got you.
Do you remember asking me
Yes.
if you should wear that green blazer? And I said no. And I had history class that day with Mr. Johnson. And when I heard it, they put it all over the loudspeaker, and I was like, yo, I gotta go. And he was like, nah, you can't go nowhere. And I said, what? My mother out there, you bugging. He tried to stop me, and I hit him with that chair, boop, right across his head. You're not telling me nothing. And I was out the school. I was out. I went straight to my grandmother's house, and we was calling her, looking for her, everything. It took her. By the time she got back, her legs. I'm sorry, Mommy, but I heard it, and I had to call.
Well, we appreciate your passion.
Okay.
I certainly can relate to it because on that day I couldn't find my mother either. My mother was going in that building just like your mother was going in that building.
What was in that
day.
building?
Well, the Twin Towers is part of a larger.
Okay.
First of all, I'm gonna let you go, Cass. Thank you for calling. Okay.
I love you. I love y'all, yo. Thanks for letting me
I
know.
love you.
Nah, man, you family. We appreciate it.
I'll talk to you when I get out.
You got it. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus say. Basically, the World Trade Center. When we think of the World Trade Center, we think of the Twin Towers, but it's a complex of buildings
And
businesses. And building 1 and 2 of the Twin Towers, and then there's various other buildings that are given a number.
So it was
and-
different businesses within the towers.
I mean, absolutely,
Oh, okay.
absolutely. I mean, and businesses that I'm sure we all have heard of, and the train station is under the Twins, but the train station feeds to all of the buildings. My mother worked in Building 7 at the time, and she didn't get out of Jersey City. Where she was standing on the train platform, she had a clear shot, vision-wise, of what was happening. And so she said, okay, so she turned around, walked back up Randolph Avenue to Carteret Avenue, back up to Arlington where we used to live, back to the house, and chilled. And it took me probably till certainly after lunch before I was able to reach her. And I knew she was going there. So I tell that story because I know the pain and the fear that she was feeling. So I just wanted to share that. Ain't No How Steppin' with Marcus J. live from the Den Legacy and that radio. I want to take a turn. I think we've kind of gotten out what we wanted to get out on this subject. A couple of things that I want to get to so that we can make sure that we have plenty of time for the trivia that SY's got for us later on in the show. But Bless, I want you to tell us a story about a gorilla called Harambe. Tell us, set it up for us, and then we're gonna quickly round table the story of Harambe, who was just innocently murdered on the mean Cincinnati zoo grounds.
From what I understand, a lady went to the zoo with her children. Now, what is told in the story initially was you don't hear how many children there are. However, the child got away, got through the gate, and fell, I believe, 10 feet into the gorilla pool. The people, when they found out, you see video footage of the mom saying, I'm right here. They say that the zookeepers had called the gorillas in, and the female gorillas went in. However, Harambe stayed out there. Now, when I watched the video footage, I did not see where he was pulling the child around in the water. I saw where it looked like he was protecting the child, where he was standing the child up and holding his hands. Now, that's what made me angry at first, like, why would they kill it? But I did not see them, the gorilla, a male gorilla now, they are very vicious, pulling the kid around. I just saw him being gentle and protective at that time, but people were screaming their excuses for why he might have done what he did. However, male gorillas are very instinctive and want to protect their property or their area. And now that he has been taken out of his natural property, that was considered his property. Unfortunately, they felt like if they had tranquilized him, he would have been more angrier in the time that it would have taken for him to go down and be subdued, and he may have hurt the child even worse by the time that he was tranquilized, so they killed him.
Now that we got it set up, Shayna, jump in here, because you and I had the conversation about what the mom was doing. Tell us your thoughts on the mom at this point, once she sees that her small child is in there with a silverback.
From the video, I seen her. Well, I didn't even see her. I heard her voice. Mommy loves you. I
can tell by how you setting that up. You feeling some kind of way about the mom.
Could not be me. Okay. My mother, if my kid, which will never. I can't never say it can never happen to anybody, because when you have kids, things happen. Out the blue, you never know what's going to happen. So I'm not going to say, oh, she should have been watching her kid, da-da-da-da. She probably was watching her kid, and she probably turned around for 1 second. Kids are very inquisitive.
Fast.
Very fast, okay? So if it was me and my kid, first I would have noticed her crawling under the gate. I would have crawled under the gate after my kid. I would have been down there with the gorilla, telling the gorilla, yo, this is my kid, you know what I'm saying? My bad, we over here, we didn't mean to do this. But I would have been down there too. You know, if I had to fight the gorilla, it's me dying and my kid surviving, then oh well, that's what it's gonna be.
Big sis, jump in.
That's just how.
All right, I'm gonna agree with you 50%. Should something as stupid happen as me not keep my eye on my, 4-year-old?
3-4-year-old, yeah.
3-4-year-old, which never, ever happened. Never. You took your kid to the damn zoo. You took the kid to the zoo. You took him to a place where, hello, we have animals. You took him to a place where there are lots and lots of people. It's crowded. You keep your eye on your kid. This is a 4-year-old. He's not going to listen to you there, just like he don't listen to you at home. But you keep your eye on the kid. You listen, my mother, hold on to this, hold on to that. Don't let go of my jacket or whatever the case may be. Me with my kids, hold on to this, hold on to that. Never, never out of my sight, okay? To let her kid take the time to not only get away from her, crawl through some rubbish, then down the hole. She was not paying attention to her kid. I don't care. Now, I'm not saying she don't love her kid. I'm not saying that. But Heifer was not paying attention to her kid. There's no way that the time it took for him to get away from her, crawl under the damn metal fence, go through the grass, and fall 10 feet, she should have been paying attention somewhere along the way. As soon as the feet move, your ass should have looked. You should have got your kid. Now, yes, I'm not going to sit there and look down at the gorilla.
Say, I love you, baby.
Dogging my kid, talking about, I love you, mommy's here. Hell no. If you're going to kill my kid, you're going to have to kill mommy too. Mommy's going for the kid.
Bless, jump in.
Now, what has come out, because the news media is as it is nowadays, is that there were other children that she had with her at the zoo, which is why that one particular child got away. And also the fact that the woman and the family are black has come out, which in other instances
I didn't know that.
Wouldn't matter
because number one, you don't know anything about the family. How many times has instances like this happened? You have no idea what color they are, how old the child is, or who the parents are. But in this case, they have made it a point to show that this is a black family, that the father, who was not even there, has a rap sheet, that she has so many other kids that she took, that none of that information would have mattered if it was anybody else of another skin tone. But that's probably how the child got away.
I 100% agree, and that's the whole point to me of this story, because this story is not an original story. This has happened before. This has happened several times before, and in most cases, you never know anything about the family. Now, I see,
and the gorillas live.
I see your body language. We're gonna address that, but I want to get everybody to get an opportunity to speak on it, and then we'll come back. WB, what you got, man?
The whole thing about the kid situation, I agree with the being a parent, because I am a parent. I have 3 beautiful young ladies. I have one of them that, she can get lost sometimes. I'm going to use that very lightly, lost. And she likes to wander, so I have to take special precautions, and I have to realize that she's with me. Me seeing my child go down into anywhere that I feel like that she should not go, automatically I'm on edge because I already know my child. But for her to fall down 10 feet, knowing that there's an animal that she's not even prepared to take care of herself of, and I'm just going to stand there and make it seem like I'm Kevin Hart. No, don't do it. I love you. No. You don't do that, because as a parent, you have to stand for your children. That's responsibility of a
So then what happens
parent.
to the other children that she had there with her? Who's going to protect those other children while she's getting beat up by the silverback?
She shouldn't have been
You
alone.
need to stand right at the same time. If she has more than she can handle, then therefore it should have been more than just one parent
You're
going.
absolutely right. I do agree with that.
We're talking about the zoo now. We're not talking about just to the corner store.
No, I agree. I would agree with that.
And the zoo should take some responsibility, because the gate shouldn't have been that big.
Yeah,
it shouldn't have been wide enough for anybody to get through.
unsafe.
Children come to a zoo. The gate shouldn't have been that big.
Mr.
Tell y'all something, man. Let me tell y'all something. If that was my kid, let me tell you, the whole family would have been down that joint. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Like, I would have been down there. The kids would have been down there. Like, the gorilla wouldn't have stood a chance. I'm trying to tell you, they would have to shoot the whole family. But I get it. But I get it. Like, my son is a busybody. Like, I know when I take him to the zoo and take him to places, I gotta get the
You put a leash on him?
Yeah. No, not the leash. My hand is the leash. I don't do the
I
little.
don't think black people.
I don't do the little gorilla, the gorilla backpack.
Them janks probably go. Those probably might be on the market right now. Them leash shit.
Here's what I think about. Here's what I think about this, and I'm gonna take the last word because we gotta get it. We gotta get out of this segment and kind of move on to some other stuff. But
All right.
I think, and actually, that's why I want you to actually comment. You'll get the last word. I want you to comment on what I'm going to say here. I think that most people discussing this is being disingenuous. Here's why. Let's cut the bullshit. Everybody that's got a kid know their kid and got away from them at least once before. Like, cut the bullshit. For real. We all know this. When we in the house and you see your kid that made a mess, not the kind of mess where they can hurt themselves, but they done made a mess. They didn't make the mess in front of you. They got away from you that quick. I got nieces and nephews, that, are a little bit more lively than my own child. My child is not a child that would run away from me. She wasn't when she was small. But I got nieces and nephews that are, and I've watched, my siblings who are good parents, lose them, not lose them as in not in their sight, but they'll run away. And a lot of times a kid thinks that you're playing. So they keep on running. You know what I mean? And so you can be the greatest parent in the world, and this could happen to you. I just feel strongly about that. And I think every single person that wants to throw stones at this woman. Now, where she loses me is she doesn't go down. I do think that you need to be in that pit. I do think you need to be in that pit because your kid is down there. What you going to do? And for those folks who have issues with them killing the silverback, I mean, come on, man. You got a itty-bitty child that's in there with a freaking gorilla.
I think the issue is that it's a black child. If it was a white child, then people wouldn't have as much of a problem. Unfortunately, that's the way we are here.
We got a special guest that's in the room. I want to make sure that she's properly introduced so that when she makes her comment, you know who she is. And, of course, you know who she is. She is the First Lady of Legacy Internet Radio, our assistant, yours comedian. Listen, P's up in this joint.
Hey there,
She's making faces because she think we all crazy on this subject.
Yes. Let me just say something. First of all, I love each and every one of you because not only are you all my family, but for real, we all the same color, so we sisters and brothers for real. Okay, and let me just say this, even to all the listeners, the thousands that we have listening to us here at Legacy Internet Radio, I want to say to all the parents, you all are lying. You all are lying, and let me tell you why you all are lying. I'm all the parents. And just hear me out before you all say anything. Number one, you all are saying that y'all pretty black folks, light skin, dark skin, medium, any other color, would jump down there with that silverback gorilla because your child is down there. Okay. So again, what the parents said is that I'll be right down there. My kid dropped, I'm right down there. Okay, let me pose this question. Say you're a chaperone on a field trip. You're responsible for 4 kids. Somebody else's child drops down there. All y'all parents sitting here saying that y'all gonna jump in there after y'all child, the 4 that y'all are responsible for. Are y'all jumping?
For my own blood, I guess.
No.
I gotta be somebody. I don't know, but I feel you.
Ooh, you see how that came out? That just came out. Harambe, I got you. I feel you. I got you because they lying. I got you.
I feel you.
So again,
we said our kids.
what comedian this recipe?
I don't know about no bad kids.
Oh, so that means y'all ain't got no. So you're. Ooh, okay. Right. First of all, let me just let the listeners know, comedian this recipe has no children. So I just want to let y'all know the people that y'all listening to that y'all love has said that if y'all child go on a field trip with them to the zoo, number one, you better say, no, my child can't go with you. Because there's a possibility that this may happen.
Hey.
So I just like to pose that question as I pass around the mic to the parents.
That was a really good question, though, honestly. And you're right. She ain't lying, though, but I don't know. It's something about...
Oh, look at them two back there.
High five it.
It's something about a parent instinct. Like, a parent would die for their kids. Like, I don't know, when you first have a child and the first thing you do is look at your kid and you're like, this is mine. You know what I'm saying?
My mama went into the water, and she can't swim for my brother at Virginia Beach.
Let me tell you something.
I was standing there drowning, but she went in the water for my brother. So, yeah, I can understand the parents' instincts. She was walking on water.
I'm going in for blood. That's it. I'm going in for blood.
I'll be down there with that silverback.
I ain't lying. I'm going in for blood only.
Ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. All right, that That was fun. We're going to take a break, y'all. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I got a question that I'm going to ask the panel, and it's about 3 little words. Marcus J and the crew. Ain't no half stepping with yours truly. Be back in a few.